Hello everyone. So after finishing the Talent BI series, now we are going to use the SSIS and see the difference between these two type of ETL and what are the difference between them in, about components and how to use the components. We are going to use the same schema as you see here. We have two fact tables and four dimensions. If you didn't see the Talent BI series, I will put the link in the description below. So we'll just start and see how to use this schema using SSIS. First of all, let's create a project here, new, and we give the type of the project here, services project. We are going to give it a name by SSIS Northwind. Let's make it for staging area, which is stand to. Let's make it SA here, which means staging area. We're going to change the location, of course. And we should place the solution on the project in the separate directory. It's better. So let's create a project. So as you see here, there are different windows. We have in the left the file project window, and here the component that we are going to use to create our ETL. In Taran, there is a notion and notation which is job design, and for SSIS is like what we call it package. So they are the same. So we create different packages or we create different job designs to create our pipeline. So as you see here, we have package TTS X. We can rename it to customer. We're going to start by our customer table. Okay, as you see here, and it tell us that we should save this package for all the configuration of the project. And as you see here on the right, there are some components. What we need to do, to create our ETL, we need this component, which is data flow task. So this component, when we open this component, it opens another window. Here we can create our pipeline. So we need our data source. Our data source are SQL Server data source Northwind, and the second data source it is Access. Problem here, Access, there is no component here in SSIS. Only if you can buy it because it's a premium component. So what I did to solve this problem, I just converted Access to CSV files. So let's start by reading our first data source, which is in the SQL Server. Here in SSIS, we have the component OLEDB source and OLEDB destination. That stands to read a different component of Microsoft. So here we're going to create our connection by clicking new and clicking new here and type the name of server, which is the name of your computer, of course. Then just test your connection, and your connection is successfully connected. And here we should type the name of your database. And our name, database name, it is Northwind. I already made the connections. I will not do it again. So just cancel here and cancel here. What I'm going to do is just to pick my connection here. Okay. So you see here we have data access. We can access to tables, table name or view variable, or we can write our own command, SQL command that's in here. What I'm going to do is to select our table, which is our customer table. And we go to columns. We can pick the column that we need to take or that we don't need. For example, I can delete the fax, I can delete the phone, I can delete the country. So I can delete the component that I don't need. The column that I don't need. So just go with this. And then we can preview, of course, we can preview the data as we see here. So we see that we have some customer ID, the company name, and the contact name, and etc. We close and we press OK. After that, we need to connect to our CSV files. So what we are going to do, we are going to click here to flight file, which is a component that read different type of files like CSV or text files or those kind of types. So we drag and drop the component here in the data flow, and we double click here. Here we are going to create a new connection, of course, and we are going to browse the file. So we're going to We are here to source DB, Northwind, and the result, and we are going to select all files or CSV files. As you see here, we had different files here because I just as I said, I converted the Access database to CSV to just make the project work fine. So we're going to select our customers here, and if we go to columns, we're going to see something weird that our data contain these quotes. We're going to see how to clean this kind of mess. So now what we can do, we can press OK here and to go to columns. We can delete those columns attachment. As you remember in Talent, I said that this column will make a problem when we do our pipeline. So we just need to get rid of it. So delete it, and we can delete other columns as here, web page, we don't need the zip, postal code, service, I think the state, province. So it depends what you want to let or delete. Then press OK. Now, what you're gonna do, we need to do the same process as we did in Talent. In the customer, we don't need to create, I mean, to fix our ID columns, which means adding a variable to distinguish between the SQL table and the access table. What I mean by that, if we're going to look in our database, in the staging area of, I think, Northwind, yeah, here, of the talent table, if we go to the customer here, as you see here, the customer ID contains numbers and here strings. However, in employee here, it contains a variable here x. You can do whatever you want or whatever encoded you want. I just want to make it easier to just understand. However, here, as you see, there are numbers. So here it distinguishes between the two data source. So now let's do our process. We go here. We are going to convert the data, as I said, because we have some quote marks, which is not good for our data. So how we're going to convert our data? As you remember, in Talent we use the team up. The team up, it does everything like converting, lookup, and other stuff. So the component that we need to do our transforming and cleaning, it's the derive column. So this component help us to um, clean the data and also transform it. How we're going to do that, we have two arrows as you see here. This red arrow is meant to debug the data at the errors. So whenever there are error, we can see the debug and the logs files. And for this arrow is our pipeline arrow. So we link our flood file source to the derive column and double click here. So what we are going to do, as you see here, there are some functions as it is in Talend, some mathematical functions, string function, and other functions. And here in the left, there are variables, the system variables, and the columns. So what we are going to do, we are going to take our columns that we need in our customer table and use our transformer. So we're going to take the ID, and we're taking the company, last name, first name, and yeah. So let's start by ID, then let's go with company. Um, and after that, we are going to use the contact name, which is the first name and last name. So let's just by doing this and press plus and add our last name, okay, which is a concatenation. We need to rename our columns here, for example, ID, and here company, okay, and finally it's our customer. Also in concatenation, we need here a space between those strings, first name and last name. So we need to be between them a space. Also, what we need, yeah, we need the country, of course, here. So I'm going to name this country. Okay, we need R here. So what we do here, what we did, I mean, we concatenated the first name and last name, and now we are going to apply our process by using this function. So this function, it will replace our column ID and delete our quotes as you see here. So it's a string function, of course. So we are going to copy this ID here and replace this variable here. And what we do, we do the same process for all the columns. So we copy this function here, copy the name of the column, and replace it here. Okay, copy the same function here also, and we replace it here. This is something I wanted to show you. If you see this red color, it means your expression has an error, so we need to fix it. And if it's blocked, so there are no errors. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to copy this and place this here. Okay, I think there are no errors. As you see here, it's blocked, so there are no errors. Okay, now we need to convert our data. As you see here, it's a Unicode string DTW something, WSTR, which is like a not it's a string but a different type. We need to make it a normal string, so we are going to use the component convert, which is the data conversion, and this component help us to convert our data to whatever type we want. So we'll link our derived column here to data conversion, and we are going to select some columns. We are going to select our ID because those columns are data source columns, and those are the derived columns that we did some transform and cleansing. So we're going to pick our ID, the company, the customer, and the country, and we are going to convert them to a string, which is DTSTR. Okay. Now, what we need to do is to press OK, and we just finished our conversion. Now we need to tackle the same process here in our OLDB source. So we can say those two columns are kind of team up. So if we combine them, but it is not. So what we need here, we need our derived column. Is it necessary we need our derived? I don't think so. We need derived column because there are no let's preview the data. There are no some we don't need any transformation or whatever. So what we need only maybe conversion. Let's see if we need the conversion. So data conversion here. Let's see our type. If we pick those data, yeah, we need to convert our data. So it's possible to do the union. I mean, if we gonna unite those two data source, should have the same schema and same data type. So we need the customer type ID, the customer company name, the contact name, I think, yeah, and finally the country. We're going to convert this data to string, and here also. As you see here, the length is different. So let me check something here. It's 50, 50. Okay, it's 50, 50, 11, 101, and 50. So let's go here. Let's make it 50. And here, I think it's 50 also. And here 50, and here it's 101. Okay, we have the order. So our order is customer ID, company name, contact name, and country. Let's see our order here. Company, country. Okay, it's the same order, which is nice. Now, to unite those components, in Talend we use TUnit, and in SSIS we're going to use the union all, which is a component that unite the data if they have the same schema. So what we are going to do, I'm going to link our first data source here and the second data source here. And we double click here. And now let's see what are the columns that we are going to join. I mean to make it, to union them or merge them. So we need to, as you see here, we have our company here. We need to pick our copy of company with the copy here. Let me check something first. So data conversion. So it's going to be copy of ID, copy of company, copy of customer contact name. Also here it's a copy. Okay, good. So this is our first output column. This is the union. So here, going to be a copy of ID, I think customer ID. Here is company name. Yes, and here it's company customer. Copy of country. Okay, so as you see here, we did the union between the copy of ID. Why I said that it's copy of ID? Because as I mentioned here, it's our alias. So how to make it clear for you? Let's change the alias here. Maybe you're gonna pick it 1, and here 2, and here 3, and here 4. Okay. So if press OK here, go to union, you're gonna see that 1, 2, 3, 4 change. So this is our alias. This is our alias of output for our first data source. Let's copy. So if we make, sorry, we're gonna make 1 here, and make 2 here, also here 3, here 4. So as you see here in union, we're gonna have the same output. On 1, company name. Let me check something. Customer, country, yeah, we made a mistake. So the customer is 2, the country is 3, the company is 4. So I'm gonna do here. Let me fix. Let me rename them. It's better. So I just renamed them to CID, C company, etc. So if you see here in union, you're gonna see the CID is C company with the company name here with the customer and country. Okay. After that, what we need to do is to check if our data, if there are any redundant data. So how are we going to use that? In Talend, we use the component. I think it's unique, and it helps us to verify if there is any redundant value. However, in SSIS, there is another approach. There is no component for that, but there is another approach. We're going to use 2 components. The first component is aggregate, that's gonna group by the columns and count the number of columns of if each row. I mean the number of appearance of each row. And if we're going not to use another component which is conditional split, so if the number of the appearance is superior than 1, we are not going to take that column. If it's equal to 1, we're going to take it. So how we're going to do that? We need to first type aggregate here, and we join this union here and double click here. We're going to choose our, I think, this data, copy, and this variable. It count all repetition of these columns, I mean these rows. Press OK. Okay, we need our conditional splitting. Okay. And here we're gonna link our component. In conditional splitting, here we are going to pick our count all, which is our case. So here what we are going to say. If it's this it equal to 1, so it's if I press OK, let me show you something. Yeah, let me write a condition, then I will show you how it works. So we are going to use this condition. And this condition, so here as you see, the count all if it equal to 1. And we did some casting here just to tell that those variables are integers. So we're saying if the count all it equal 1, this is our condition. So if this happen, what we are going to do, we are going to take the ones that has that condition. And now what we need to do, we are going to load our data to our database, our staging area. So we're going to type here OLE, and we are going to pick our destination here. First of all, we need to create a database. So we're going to here, and here create a new database, and I think we're going to name it Northwind SSIS and SA, which stands to staging area. Press OK. As you see here, there are some different databases that I work on. So I just work on Northwind, of course, using SSIS and TALEND. I'm also working on water sensor, which is going to be another video for another ETL. We're going to talk about the pros and cons. I think the name of the ETL is name. So let's go back. Let's just pick the name of this database. Let's go back to our ETL. Double click here. The computer has no. Yeah, we don't care about this. We need to create a new connection here. Press new. We type of the name of our server. The name of the server is just the name of your computer. I will show you how to get that. And here, database, just press the name of database. Let's test our connection here. The connection is just connected successfully. We press OK here, then we press OK. And for the table, let's see how we are going to do that. Now, as you see, there are two arrows. We are going to use, as you see here, output. So I'm going to use the case one. The case one is my condition. So I'll press OK here. The case one here, as you see, it's our condition, which is if the count all is equal to 1, I'm taking that column. Okay, I press OK. Here in our destination, we can load the tables that already exist in our data warehouse, staging area, or we can use SQL command, or we can create a new table here, as you see, and we are going to use to rename the column here to customer, and also rename our columns here, also here, and also here, and here. We can delete also this column. We don't need it, the count all. And I think we are ready to go. Press OK. Then we go to mappings. So we are going to map our columns if needed. And here we need to. So we are going to pick the copy of ID. Here, the copy of company, the customer, the country. We check something. I think everything is okay. Yeah, let's press OK. Now, after finishing our pipeline, as you see here, it's kind of long there a bit. It's not like Talend. We use only two data source and two TMAPs, and T unique, I think, T unit, and then T unique row, and the destination. However, we have some other extra component here in SSIS. Now we need to save our component, which is our job, which is our package, and we click to start. So the process to the package is running, and we just loaded 120 rows. I think, yes, it's a 120 rows. Let's check our database here, Northwind tables here, DB customer, if we gonna see, interesting. So as you see here, we have the ID, the company, the customer, the country, our data. So, okay, as you see here, the data is not loaded well. I want to load them like in order. So how are we going to do that? So first of all, let's just delete the data. So delete from this. Okay, and I'm going to use the component sort that help me to load the data in a sort way. So let's just delete this. Let me type here sort. Okay, and then what the hell just happened? Okay, I'm going to choose the case one, of course. And in sort here, I'm going to sort by ID. Yeah, ascending is better. And now let's do this. I think it's working now. Let's press OK and let's run our package again. Okay, let's check our table now. Yeah, as you see here, yeah, as you see here, you can't really sort the values because they are string, they are not numbers. But it's okay. And however, we managed to split the data source. As you see here, this is our access data source or CSV file data source, and this is here our Microsoft SQL Server data source. So yeah, this is how it works. This is how we create our pipeline in our SSIS. We create first of all our control data flow task. So there are so many components here that we are not going to use them all. We are going to use only the data flow as a beginner stuff. Then this data flow task give us the ability to create our pipeline here with those different components. We have different data source types and other component that help us to clean the data, transform the data, and also and we can merge some components to do some process, and finally to load our data here. Or the other tables like project and think the orders and order details, I'm going to be fast because we just saw the process. So we're going to use the same process here. And yeah, so that's it. So after that, I'm going to work on product and I think orders and order detail. And see you in the next time, guys.